Every great FPS needs one thing, guns that feel amazing. The weight, the recoil, and the sound, of course. It all has to come together to make every shot satisfying. In my game, I want every weapon to have impact, from the way they fire to how you reload. And this week, I'm gonna be diving into what makes gunplay feel good, the animations, the audio, and the responsive mechanics. Last week I worked on the movement, and I'm happy with how that feels right now. The controls are snappy, the pacing is good, but the movement alone isn't enough. So now I want to break down what makes a gun feel good. Let's make a list and figure out what really matters. Sound is super important. A solid, punchy gunshot can make even a weaker weapon feel satisfying, and the bad sound can totally take care of the experience.
Double down. Yes. 3 down. You.
Recoil is a big thing too. It's all about making each shot feel like it actually matters. If it's too light, the gun feels weak. And if it's too heavy, it's just annoying. Getting that balance right makes it feel perfect. Gun design also plays a huge role. The shape, the weight, and how it feels in the hand. If it looks and feels solid, it adds a lot to your experience. A good design can actually make you want to use that weapon instead of another one, and even though it's worse. Not just because it's powerful or has better abilities, just because it feels right. With those three things in mind, let's start building a gun in my game that can actually shoot. And lucky for me, there's about 1 million tutorials on YouTube, so I'll just follow a few. By downloading this Unity asset, I could have a little gun which I placed on my camera. With the script, I can shoot, and according to the amount of bullets I gave, I can shoot that many times, and then of course you gotta reload. And I added an auto reload, so after the 6 shots, it will automatically reload too. On the top right, you can see the statistics of the gun, so for example the current ammo. And then by shooting, clicking the left mouse button, the ammo goes down, and if the raycast hits something, it counts as a hit on that target. On every hit, the health goes down, and it's based on how much damage each bullet does. The script I'm using I got from a tutorial on YouTube, from Ply. He explained how the gun system works and made a great tutorial. After following it, I understood how the scripts work, and now I can go refine it. Actually, before I continue with the gun, I want to look at the art style, so I already know how I want to design my guns and what kind of guns I want to put in my game. So I want to go back to the 90s kind of games, the chunky pixels and low poly models. Back then they had to use creative tricks to make things look good, but with limited resources. Right now we have way more resources, but we can still make it look cool. Starting with the ground, it's granite, but it's just a repeating texture, and I think it gives off a really good look. Now of course the lighting is still a little weird, and the surrounding area isn't done, but to me it looks cool already. I got it from this archive I found on the internet, actually from some Reddit posts, and it contains a lot of weird 128 by 128 textures, from clouds to bricks to some stone and some other cool colors. The textures come from the CDs, which were used for graphic design or other designs on the computer. They're from like 1995. To make this texture work, what you get the PNG, then you make a new material. You put the PNG as a base map on that material, then up the tiling, and then make sure the picture isn't repeating. That would just repeat the texture over and over on the item you put it on. I made this animation for the revolver, like the recoil. It's using 4 keyframes and I tweaked it a little bit, but I think it looks pretty good now. I do really miss the sound here, because I think if I would add some sound, it would look, and of course, sound way better. I'm really happy with the progress I've made in these 2 weeks. Before starting, I didn't know anything about Unity or C#, but now I have a little game where I can shoot, walk around, and some nice textures. Next week, I'm gonna be working on the sound, and maybe look at Blender a little to model the guns. But we'll see next week. Goodbye.